Good evening, everyone, and a warm welcome to our first session in the SAP Technical Series. And thank you for joining on time. This is Bhanupriya from FFE. It is my pleasure to introduce our distinguished speaker for today's session, Mr. Madhusudan Sahu, Engineering Manager at SAP Labs India Private Limited. Mr. Sahu brings him with over 19 years of rich experience in the software industry. In his current role, he leads engineering teams, manages operations, and drives platform focused initiatives, all aimed at enhancing efficiency and innovation within his organization. Throughout his career, he has also served as an architect and a product owner, contributing to robust solutions across diverse domains, including e commerce, ERP, banking, and finance. Mr. Sahu's technical expertise spans a wide range of technologies such as Java, Node.js, AngularJS, Spring Boot, Kubernetes, cloud native development, and the emerging field of generative AI. A strong advocate from innovation and developer productivity, he and his team actively contribute to open source tools and build platform capabilities that simplify and enhance the overall developer experience. We truly honored to have him with us today to share his insights on Agile and Basics, a foundational topic that will help you align with industry practices. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Madhusudan Sahu. And over to you, Mr. Madhusudan Sahu.
Yeah, thank you. So let me share my screen.
Yeah, I have given access and I'll stop sharing the screen.
Okay. Maybe anyone can confirm if I'm
Yes, we are able to see
okay.
your screen.
Okay, yeah. Thanks. So hello everyone and good evening. So I'm Madhusudan and I will present this agile topic or the basic agile topic to you guys. So let me start. So basically, for today's discussion, we are going to discuss what is Agile, how does it work, why we use Agile methodology, and then Scrum meeting, important terms so which we are using over here, and then Scrum process and Scrum artifact. So before going on deep, basically, Agile is a sorry, yeah. So basically, Agile, what is Agile? So basically, Agile is a methodology which is used not only software company, but it can be used anywhere, whenever we are developing any kind of product, whether it is a physical product or uh, any software or anything. So generally, software companies or other companies, they use some kind of methodology where they can track what is their current status and all those things. And for that, they use a different kind of methodology, something called a waterfall is there, agile is there. So these kind of different methodology is used. And uh, in today's session, we will discuss on agile methodology. So as a definition says, agile is a time-bound interactive approach to software delivery that let me know if you're seeing my screen properly because the screen is
Yes, we are able to
there.
see. It is showing what
Okay,
is
sorry.
agile.
Okay, sorry. So agile is a time-bound iterative approach to software delivery that builds software incrementally from the start of the project instead of trying to deliver it all at one near the end. So basically, let's say maybe if we are trying to develop something, let's say maybe I want to make a car, or maybe you guys are planning to develop one software, let's say maybe software called Amazon. For that kind of software you're making a e-commerce software, right? Then maybe if we are not thinking in one shot, okay, we'll make Amazon and everything will be working. In spite of that, we make one by one. Maybe first we'll work on the some very basic feature to search, add a product, and then maybe to search the product, and then maybe next step will be to develop order management, and the next step will be uh, add to cart, and then next will be order management. That is how step by step we develop and test it, and then once one step is done, then we go for the next step. So that is a kind of iterative. So this is one approach. Maybe I'll also go on the waterfall later. But for now, this is what Agile's definition here is. And when we are making any agile project, then we break our tasks uh, into a smaller pieces, as I mentioned, right? Like if you want to make a e-commerce, then you will have to break it in some smaller pieces. For maybe you will target, okay, maybe this month we will build, or maybe this 4 week we will build product search, and the next 4 month we will build on the cart, add to cart feature, which include UI or backend, or maybe you can think only, okay, this 4 week or 2 week we'll build only backend part of, and then next 4 week we'll build a UI part, like that. So this is how you break down your project into smaller pieces and then prioritize them. Ki which one is my higher priority? So obviously, if I'm making a commerce product, let's say, then adding product is a first priority. Obviously, then only I can get the product. After that, only I can add the product on a cart, and after that, only I can order. So that is how it is there. Obviously, before that, again, I will also have to work on create user, login, and registration, and all those process will be also the initial steps, I can say. But specifically, if I talk about e-commerce, which is a more focus, if I'm making, then that is obviously everything will be there basically. So these are the small pieces which we break it and then we develop it. Then there are something called a sprint in Agile. So we decide for a small period. Okay, we will do it for 1 month or 15 days. We will develop this one, because generally what happened, this is also applicable in our life. If we are making a bigger goal, okay, in this 6 month I will do something. Maybe I'll make a bodybuilding, or maybe I'll play cricket very well, very strong on the cricket. Then maybe it will take we will get demotivated. But if we'll say, okay, in 1 week maybe I'll try to hit this kind of shot, or I'll try to hold the ball, or maybe if we are thinking about exercise, then maybe this week I'll do only hand exercise just for 5 minutes. Then next week I'll increase it for 10 minutes, and then next week I'll try to increase for 20 minutes, like that. Then iterative process, then we can continue something. So agile also goes like that. So then if we are doing something wrong on our goal, let's say maybe if there is some issue, maybe I could have a health issue if I'm trying to bodybuild, right? Uh, so if, with a few days only, I can understand, okay, this is going wrong. But maybe if I'm targeting, committing someone, okay, in 6 months, I'll make this kind of thing, or maybe in 6 months, I'll be a best player. So in initial days, you can understand what are the problems are there, which you had to rectify, and then you can try to fix those as soon as possible. So something similar goes on software terms also. We break it in smaller pieces and then we work on. So the next slide is covering that part. So basically here, there are a couple of role we'll cover that in coming part, but there is someone called product owner who will have a vision what we have to make. So let's say being a product owner, I'm thinking I have to make a e-commerce product, or I have some good solution in my mind, which I want to build as a company, as part of the company. Then there will be some backlog item will be there, which we called product backlog. And from that, he will, in when sprint comes. So in Scrum, in Agile, there is a Scrum on that. For this week, I'll decide, okay, these are my higher priority tasks. You develop it on this week. Maybe again, that is who how it will be decided. All those things will cover in the coming section. But then product owner will say, okay, these are the items you develop in this 2 weeks or maybe 4 weeks, like that. So that product backlog is given. Then on that planning meeting is happening where he's explaining everything. Okay, on this task, what are the things I'm looking for? So let's say in product development, I am looking for, I want to have a screen where I will add a product name, product description, product cost, product quantity, and all those things. Whatever the things I want, maybe I'll describe to the developer. Maybe I'll give some mock-up. This kind of screen should be looking, and the feature wise backend side, these are the validation you have to do. So if I'm adding a product, it should not contain this kind of character or letter. Name should be not less than this and not greater than this, something like that. Price should be in uh, currency, what kind of currency option should be there. So those kind of option or validation cases I will provide as a product owner if I'm playing a role. Then what are the other boundary conditions are there? Like it should not, if this is happening, then it should give this error. If this is happening, then this error should happen. How many I can add. So those kind of uh, conditions and detailing he is providing. Team is asking question to him also during planning meeting. Okay, what happened on this case, that case, and all kind of thing. So planning meeting is happening. Everything's clarified by the developer at that time during planning meeting. And if anything is not very clear, then they check with the product owner and maybe they can decommit about the task. Okay, we cannot do because there is a no clarity on this particular task. So then maybe either he will give the clarity or he will bring other tasks if something is not very clear. So once the task is designed, that is called as sprint backlog. So let's say here four product backlogs are there, and team is thinking in 4 weeks we can work only on one product backlog or maybe two product backlog. So they will pick it after discussion. They will pick that task, and once they are getting it, they that is part of the sprint backlog. So the product life cycle is break in multiple sprints. So each 2 week cycle. So again, it is based on team to team, or they can decide what will be their sprint. So generally, in like in our team, in my team, 2 weeks is called one sprint. So in one sprint, we are committing, okay, we will work on this two product backlog is which is coming as a, so when we are starting working on this, we are calling this two as a sprint backlog. And then the team will do more detailing on that. Like maybe product owner has written a product backlog where he's saying ki, I want to add a product on my site and it should be visible on screen so that if I'll just click on product will be visible. That is my requirement. That is how I have written as a product owner. Now this is a team's task to convert that in a different, very smaller pieces where he can say, okay, create this service, they create this class, that class, and this UI and this database class table. So these are the different tasks for creating a product API, which will be visible on the UI. So maybe we'll break it down in multiple smaller tasks as part of the sprint backlog, and then dev team will pick that task and they will start working on those tasks. Once 2 to 4 over, or once sprint is over, then same process is again planning will happen, and again they will pick another task from here, and then they will again break it in a smaller task, and then they will continue in between. So this is how process goes on for the sprint. So once sprint is over, another sprint comes. So in each sprint, there is a daily stand-up. So as I mentioned, in our teams, we are doing 2 week sprint. So every 2 weeks sprint, daily there will be a stand-up. So in that stand-up, the idea is everyone has to be stand-up. And generally, that is a suggestion. If we are sitting and attending the meeting, we are like not more attentive. So suggestion is everyone has to be standing, and then they had to give update about their topic, what they have done in the yesterday and what they are going to do today. And that kind of update they are giving. If they are having some blocker, then they are providing update over here, and then Scrum Master will resolve that blocker either by by themselves, or maybe reach out to the product owner to get more clarity, or other guys. So that is how process goes on. And in every sprint, some delivery is happening. So let's say, as I gave example of order product, adding a product, creation of product, right? So I have developed, my team has developed a create product API, which will be using which I can create product. So a UI will be there where I can add a product. Let's say iPhone or maybe Samsung phone is a product. Product name is Samsung Galaxy is there, and then this is the version name, this is the price, this is a uh, mm, description of that, and how many cameras. So all those details maybe which generally we used to see on any e-commerce site. So once it is done, Once sprint is over, there is used to be a meeting on that. After the on that meeting, the product owner will verify and some other stakeholder, and once they are happy, then it is delivered, shipped. So maybe it will be delivered means not to end customer, but maybe it will be a part of our development environment or QA environment or some internal environment. It is running and anyone can test it. So that is how process goes on. So, and then there will be some sprint demo and retrospectives are happening. So I'll come back on that. Then, so as I mentioned about couple of meeting, right? So in Scrum meeting, there is a daily hurdle or stand-up meeting we call. So first sprint, so there are a couple of meetings are happening. One is a sprint planning meeting. There, as I discussed, we are providing more detailed discussions are happening. Then product owner is providing the details. So what are the tasks we have to do? Next is once for planning is happened, after that daily scrum meeting is happening. The daily scrum meeting is a short, less than 30-minute daily scrum meeting. So ideally, even it is not a 30-minute, it depends how big is your team, but generally suggestion is a smaller team should be there, 7 to 8 people like that, and then everyone has to take 1 or 2 minutes to give their update. So Scrum Masters can monitor with that. So then daily Scrum meeting is happening, and then at the end of the sprint, which is a 2 week or based on the team to team, so 2 week or 4 week, but it should not be more than that ideally. So after that, sprint review will happen there where the product owner and other stakeholder join, and then sprint retrospective meeting where after this demo and all, in sprint retrospective, we analyze, okay, what went well, what is wrong, and what we can improve, how we can improve our velocity. Those things, maybe there was a hurdle, and we were sitting on that. Maybe one developer was just sitting and thinking on that and not able to deliver. So why this happened? So those kind of retrospective happen on that. So daily Scrum is, as I mentioned, on that. It is happening on a daily basis, and we raise about the update. So first we discuss about what did I do yesterday that helped development team to meet the sprint goal. So sprint goal is to, let's say, to develop a product or create a product from the UI. We can create a product. So that is the goal. So maybe my task is to write a validation logic where I have to check whatever values enter from the UI, that values are proper value. It should not be start with the number. It should be always start with alphabet, or maybe description is added or not, a name is added or not. And these kind of deep validation is my task. So maybe I'll provide that detail. Yeah, yesterday I started working on a validation and I have completed that task. Maybe other guy is working on the UI part. So he will say, okay, I started working on a UI part, and there is some challenge on the UI. I am not able to proceed because maybe I do not have my machine is having some problem. Let's say maybe the hardware problem, like my laptop is not working well. So that is also a problem. Or maybe there is where I have to deploy that environment is not ready, or maybe the UI which I have to develop, which is not very clear to me. So many kind of problem blocker could be there. So maybe he will raise the blocker if they have any blocker. Then, if everything goes well, maybe they will say ki what they are going to do today. So yesterday I started a validation, and today maybe I am going to complete that validation. Then that is how the update is there. And if there is any blocker, then that blocker is mentioned over here. So when we are having Agile, basically Scrum is a under Agile is followed with the different methodology. Scrum is there, and then there is a uh, Kanban is there, and there is some other other methodology are there. Basically, Agile is a principle we use through Scrum or other approaches. So Scrum generally it is widely used. So we are following Scrum under Agile, and an agile framework that help team deliver complex product incrementally and iteratively. So as I mentioned in starting, right, let's say maybe I have to make an aeroplane. And if we are making aeroplane, so we have to make it iteratively. Or if I'm making e-commerce site, then we have to make it as a iteratively. So maybe in this sprint we'll make this part, next sprint we'll plan for this one. That is how it goes. So that is called this whole framework is called a Scrum to decide like to work on this way. Then there is a role called a Scrum Master. So a Scrum project is managed by Scrum Master, who can be considered as much as a consultant or coach as a manager. So Scrum Master can be technical. Generally, in our company here, we in our team generally Scrum Master is a technical person, but it is not mandatory. In many companies, they are having a Scrum Master, which is having just uh, just managing, like they are getting the update from team. They know very well, okay, what we have to deliver on this sprint, and then they are getting a feedback on the daily scrum. And if anyone is having any blocker, then they are trying to resolve that blocker, maybe by interacting with the other people, technical people, or maybe product manager and all. So they are mainly kind of coach. And also they can be part of development team in some companies, like in our company we do, and many companies also do like that. But yeah, then the next in is term is sprint. So Scrum has a fundamental 30 days development cycle called a sprint, preceded by pre-sprint activity and post-sprint activity. So here I just mentioned 30 days. These days we are following 30 days, but it is not a rule. Generally, we can start most of the project. They start with 2 weeks. But yeah, in 2 weeks, if you are not able to develop something tangible, then maybe we can also think about 4 week or a month mm, mm, sprint. So one sprint we can be a 30-day sprint, or maybe 4 week sprint, or 2 week sprint. 2 week is a better, but yeah, as I said, like it is not tangible. If you are not able to deliver, then 4 weeks we can think. But do not go for maybe 6 week or 8 week kind of thing. Then again, maybe that is a dangerous. So when we are planning for a pre-sprint activity, and okay, maybe quickly I'll check if anyone is having any question in between. Yeah, I can provide that notes. Do I need, someone is facing this challenge? Do I need to restart or something? Like a reshare or something? Or
You are audible and the screen is also visible, Madhusudan.
okay. So this slide at least I can share. Okay. Okay. Then in sprint there are pre-sprint activity and post-sprint activities also there, but again it is considered as part of this timeline only. So pre-sprint activities on the first day of sprint, we have to do a sprint planning meeting where we discuss what we are going to develop in this sprint, which is maybe a 2 week or 4 week, whatever is convenient of the team, and what we are going to develop. So, but yeah, generally, once we are deciding our sprint will be 2 week sprint or 4 week sprint, then we have to stick with that. Then all sprint will be the same number of weeks. So so let's say maybe I am developing a product, uh, a e-commerce product where I had to deliver order. Sorry, I had to create a product service, then order a card service, and then order service and delivery service, and obviously user management service. So these 4 5 services I have to deliver. So product owner with some senior colleague, he discuss on that, and then they just decide how long it will take. So there is something called a velocity, which I with that they identify, okay, maybe this will take a month or a year or 6 months, like that. So they identify, okay, to make this full-fledged application or minimal viable scope, this application will take 6 months. So then in 6 months, maybe there are like 12 sprint is possible. 2 weeks sprint, so maybe around 12 sprint will be there. Maybe they are considering like that or something like that. So 2 weeks sprint, let's say, and then when sprint one will be over, then maybe his expectation will be to create a product API or something like that. So in the next sprint, again, his expectation will be another high priority item. So that is how is the expectation. So in this pre-sprint activity, so first sprint is going to start, and in first sprint, they are going to develop one, let's say maybe product service. So he will provide all the details. Team will ask question if they have any doubt. All the resource will be provided, and then sprint will start. Then there will be daily scrum meeting will be there, and at the end, review meeting will be there and retrospective. So that is called a post sprint activity. Then, uh, so how does it works? So basically, you make a list. Mm, Sit down and then list all the requirement feature which we are going to provide. So as I listed, right, um, user management and then product management and then cart, order management, delivery. So all are a very high level topic. So then they go on user management. What are the user stories? So user story is something like as a developer, I want to as a user, I want to log in or I want to register in the this e-commerce platform which I'm creating. So maybe it is xyz.com. So as a user, I want to register on xyz.com. That is my one user story. Then I'll create another user story. As a user, I want to log in on xyz.com. That is my another user story. As a user, I can update my profile. That is another user story. So these are the couple of user story. And then maybe for product management, he will create couple of other user story. As a merchant, I can add product on the this xyz.com. As a merchant, I can update the product. As a merchant, I can delete the product, or as a merchant I can fetch my product and see it. So these are my couple of user stories for the product, and as a user I can add a product in a cart. So these kind of user story product owner is creating, and that is called a product backlog. So when he's creating in the initial days, then it is called a product backlog. And then when sprint starting, that time they are doing a more refinement on this, and teams are asking questions. So let's say maybe they have given as a user, I want to register on this xyz.com. So for register, maybe team will ask, okay, what are the things we have to develop as part of this? Then maybe product owner will say, my expectation is you have to make the UI and you have to have a backend, and these kind of validations are needed. Data must be saved on the database. It should be up and running without any error. If there is a error cases, user has not provided their mail ID, then we have to throw this error or that error or like that. Then maybe team can ask question, where is the UI? Can you show which kind of UI we had to make? So then maybe product owner will provide that UI. If he is not there, then maybe that part will be de-scoped, and team will say, we will not develop. You provide us a proper, maybe once you provide the UI, then we'll work. So that discussion can happen, and maybe product owner can convince, okay, you make a simple UI with your thought, and then we'll work on later. Or maybe product owner will be ready to provide a mock-up later in the later sprint. You size the thing up, then you size your story related to each other, coming up with the guess as to how long you think each user story will take. So as a developer, you will think, okay, we are going to work on this sprint, create, register as a user, and then as a user, I want to log in. These two part we can do on this 2 week sprint, which is a first sprint. Then maybe you will just discuss and guess, okay, we can do this two story only. We cannot do more than that, or maybe only one part of that. Or so that is how you will estimate. And then you get some for priority. So like then maybe your product owner will provide, uh, you had to do this in a first priority and do that as a second priority. So those kind of priorities decided, and then you start executing. So you start developing. So that is how it goes. Yeah. So till now, I have given some brief overview about the Agile with the Scrum methodology. Uh, Here, in past, many company used to do this waterfall method. So how waterfall used to go? First requirement was happening. So first day, when they are starting, let's say e-commerce, is as I was mentioning, they gather all the requirement. What are the things we have to make? User management, product management, cart management, order management, delivery management. All these things we have to do. So that requirement, every requirement will be detailed out. Okay, what are the uh, mm, stories will be there, user stories will be there, everything will be written clearly. All the discussion, okay, these are the validation points we have to do for user management. These are the validation point for product management for different topic. All requirement gathering, everything is happening. Then design is happening. Maybe architect is coming in picture over here, and then he's saying, okay, we will build it on a Java or Node or ABAP, and then we will make it as in cloud or what, which technology, where we will deploy, whether it will be AWS or what kind of machine, what will be the configuration of machine, how many machine we will run, how many consumer we are expecting. All those discussion was happening, and then based on that design is defined what are the services we are going to build and all. After that, so complete discussion happens. So with this two tasks only, maybe it is taking 6 months or 5 to 6 month time. Then development team is coming in picture, and maybe development team is taking 1 year to develop that whole product. And then after that, QA is coming in picture, and maybe QE is taking again another 1 or 2 months to test it, and then delivery is done. So now we are making live, but when we are making live, we are seeing customer is not interested on our product because they are not liking the look and feel, or they are not confident on it, or maybe it is something not useful for them because that is like very, it is the way behind 1 or 2 year back. It was, yeah, it was expected. People were interested, but now to develop whole process, it's gone 2 years gone. So now people are not much interested, and that's why that can fail also. But generally, the delivery used to be very long period over here in the waterfall method. However, with the agile method, uh, the process goes other way around. First, maybe product owner has decided, okay, I have to make out I have to deliver e-commerce site. So maybe they will develop a e-com for that. First is a user registration, product search, add to cart, and then order management and delivery. So maybe he will first say, okay, we will deliver product search, first add to product and then search option. So that will be there. That will be deliver first. That is the first requirement, and obviously high level design will be there for all the requirement, but not very detailed design. Very high level, okay, because we are developing e-commerce, so this kind of software we need. This is the technology. This are the components will be there, but high level detailing, very low level detailing will be not there. Then when sprint is started, the detailing is happening before maybe before sprint is started. So maybe architect is doing a detailing. So his sprint is going early, or maybe I can say, or architect is doing in advance for the next sprint, or all the detailing and all with the PO and all. So those kind of things are happening. So now PO, product owner, is saying in the first sprint we will develop a product or service. So in product service we can create product, um, then get product, update product, delete product, and view search product. These kind of things we'll do. So that is done. That is part of the now xyz.com also maybe. Uh, but this is not doing anything. Then maybe maybe they can provide an option or some retrofit kind of thing. Okay, if you want to buy this product, call on this number. Maybe just a very bare minimum product. So now within a month or two, we got something, and there, if you like really you like that product by seeing that, then maybe you can call that, and then maybe you can get that product. So that is how it will work maybe on the first month. Uh, and then next month, maybe he will give another requirement, maybe uh, order add to cart option. So next month you have deliver add to cart, and then maybe again after add to cart you have to just SMS or give a call or something. Okay, whatever added on this number of cart, maybe you can just deliver something. So that is how progressively it goes. So here the benefit is it is with the time. Maybe if we are quickly getting a feedback from our customers, and if they are liking, not liking, we are understanding, and then based on that we are updating it. But here it was taking 2 years to get the customer feedback. Here we are quickly getting customer feedback. I gave a e-commerce site, but maybe uh, normal, let's say maybe we are part of SAP, so someone is we are developing some software for some segment, maybe for car segment, then maybe we can quickly take a feedback from car segment, that big companies or Toyota and all those companies, and we can ask, okay, we are building this kind of thing, whether it is helpful for you or not. So small scope we can show. Yeah, so that is there. Then Yeah, so requirement, design, then development, delivery, and maintenance. So this is very quick, okay? So then there in Scrum, there are a couple of roles are there. So first is a product owner. So product owner is a person who is responsible for maximizing the return on investment of development effort. So he will provide all the requirement properly, and he will be having a vision. Okay, whatever product we are making, that will work like this or that. So he will have a clear idea what we are going to make, but he will not provide all the maybe he will not provide all the detail to team in one shot. Maybe high level picture he can portray, but very detailed he will not provide in one shot, but he will have a vision of what we are going to make. He will constantly change, prioritize the product backlog. So maybe in this release, we are planning to make product management, but then suddenly a half part he has given, okay, in this sprint, you do create product API development. But then in next sprint, he realized, okay, in spite of that, maybe I had to also focus more on order management, or maybe to manage user. That part is also important. Or maybe he started the user management, but he feel in spite of that, we can first develop a product management. So these kind of prioritization he can do um, uh, on the backlog. uh, Final arbitrator of the requirement question, as accept or reject each product increment. So in first sprint, whatever I have developed, maybe they will review, he will review, and if he do not like it, then maybe he can give feedback, or he can reject whatever you have developed. That is completely you have to rework. I'm not liking it. But yeah, it is a small segment, so we can rework it. But if it is 2 year like waterfall method, after 2 years, if someone is saying, you please rework, then it is again 2 years. So that is very challenging. Decide whether to ship. Um, so once he takes a decision, so let's say, as I said, like maybe I have developed a product management, so he can decide, shall we ship only product management with this retrofit? Okay, maybe we can say, if you want to buy this product, call on this number. Or maybe he can say, no, 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 we'll not deliver it. Let's develop cart and order also. Then only we will deliver. So this kind of decision will be taken care by him. Decide whether to continue development, considers uh, mm, stakeholder interests. So based on the stakeholder interest, if stakeholders are happy, stakeholder means whoever is given the task to the product owner, or product owner is feeling, okay, this car company, these are our stakeholders. So maybe Toyota and Maruti and then Hyundai and all these car company, they will use our product. So maybe he will align with the stakeholder, and they are saying, okay, yeah, your whatever you are developing, this looks promising. Then maybe he will continue the development, or he can stop also. Okay, we are not that is not going to sell because stakeholder not happy. So that decision he can take. May contribute as a team member, has a leadership role. So he's playing a leadership role. Then Scrum Master. Scrum Master is a core of Scrum team. So doing Scrum planning for a particular sprint. So he sent a mail. he or she sent a mail for sprint scrum planning, manage dependency and impediment. So team is facing any challenge, then he will connect you with the right people. If anything is problem, then he will take care of that. Like machine is not working, maybe he will help you to get a new machine or something. Is a part of Scrum team, not a manager. So he, in the Scrum master, will be part of team. He will be technical or non-technical. He can be, but he will be part of team. So he will be very close with the team, responsible for Scrum ceremony like daily stand-up, demo, retrospective. So all these meetings he will attend. Scrum development team is seven plus minus two member cross-functional team work toward achieving goal of sprint. So basically, either you can have, that is the ideal case. You should have seven plus minus two. So maybe you can have a 5 member, or maybe you can have 9 member. You can have 10 also. That is also fine. But if your team is 20 member team, then it is very difficult in a Scrum. That could go on failure direction. So, and that team will have a cross-functional, means in your team, one maybe UI developer will be there, maybe there will be a backend developers will be there will be architect, there will be QE, there will be different role for people with a different role will be there. They work on Scrum backlog item and take part in Scrum ceremony. So all will participate on daily Scrum, sprint planning, sprint review as retrospective. Scrum team take part in daily stand-up and discuss three things. So what was done yesterday? What was the plan of today, and any impediment? So which we already discussed. Then Scrum ceremonies. So this again we have again when previously covered, like sprint planning will be there, then daily scrum will, once planning is on the first day, then on the daily basis daily scrum, then sprint review will be at the last day and of the sprint, and then after that retrospective to take place at the end of the sprint. So um, and then after that again backlog refinement take place continuously by the product owner. Sprint planning, a collaborative meeting in beginning of each sprint. Participant are product owner, scrum master, and development teams are there. Timeline wise, generally it takes 4 to 8 hours based on your time. Like let's say if you are doing for 30 days, then maybe it will take up one full day. If you are doing only for just 2 weeks, then maybe in 4 hours is also sufficient, or maybe even 1 or 2 hour could be also sufficient. Then product owner define the priority of the product backlog. Scrum team pick backlog, discuss, clarify, and commit for the backlog to be finished by sprint, and identify product backlog are moved on sprint backlog. So whatever is committed by the team, okay, we will do this too. That will be moved to the sprint backlog. So then sprint backlog looks something like that. So let's say product owner is having these many backlog where these are a smaller tasks, these two are a smaller task, this is medium task, this is smaller task, this is medium task, like that. So some are very high, bigger task like that. So maybe in this sprint, product owner has shortlisted like this. But maybe capacity wise, we have only capacity to finish uh, mm, if we are finishing these two, and then still we have some more capacity, but we cannot finish this, then maybe we can discuss with product owner, and we can also see if it is possible to do this. Maybe product owner can take a decision, since we have not that much capacity, so shall we go with this, or shall what should we do? If we are starting, then obviously from team side there will be not a very hard commitment. It will be soft commitment, we will try, but it is not committed that it will be fulfilled. So then they will take it, this task, and then they will break it in multiple sub-tasks, smaller tasks. Like for user logging, we need to create a user UI, we need to do a validation case, we need to create a service class, we need to create a controller class, we need to create a database table, we need to create connection with the database. So all these smaller tasks they are dividing. Similarly, they are doing for other also. And then they are working on it. Part of sprint planning. So there are two part. Part one is creating product backlog, determining the sprint goal, and participants are, these are the participants. And part two is Scrum Master and Scrum team. So yeah, someone has raised a question. Sorry, hand. Maybe you can ask. Sahil. Hello?
Sahil, you can type your question in the Q&A. We'll take it at the end.
Yeah. Okay. So then, yeah. So the second part is Scrum Master and Scrum team creating sprint backlog. So that we already covered. Difference between product backlog and sprint backlog. So product backlog is managed by product owner and updated weekly. So um, uh, he is having a big list of all the item which he wants to be developed throughout maybe 6 month, a year or 2 year or whatever his plan. High level view of all the work to create the product. Um, so he will know what exactly high level he is aware, okay, what we had to do, but detailing is needed. Product owner ranks the user story in product backlog, so he can say, okay, this is the first priority, this is last priority, like that. And then product owner rank provide sufficient detail during the sprint planning. So all the detail he will provide at the sprint planning. Development team estimate user story with relative unit of story point. So Mm, it is a responsibility of development team who will give the story point. Mhm. So some point number, uh, and for that they are considering something as a unit. So maybe they are thinking, okay, very simple UI with the backend with the table that we'll call one story point. Then by discussion with the product owner, they feel okay, the UI which we had to create, that is very simple one. With this kind of thing, then maybe they will consider it as one story point. If they feel okay, the requirement from the product owner side is very complex, then maybe team can say, okay, it can take a three-story point or five-story point. Then there will be a discussion that so that is more complex part, which I'm not going to cover today. Sprint backlog created by development team and update daily, contain a detailed list of all tasks that we already discussed. Team estimate task in hours. So basically, you have to provide when you are creating task, how long that task is going to take. So UI creation, how long, validation creation, how long, like that. Uh, So team is changing daily basis. They are updating their tasks. Like, okay, I have already finished this much hour of task, and these things I have done on the backlog. They are updating, and but product owner is not updating. He cannot update that product that backlog which he has created for the team until uh, only team can do that. So that is what is there. So yeah, so that is the about product backlog and the sprint backlog. Sprint review. So team demonstrate the actual work product increment they have built to the PO and stakeholders. So on this sprint one, whatever we have done, maybe they will showcase their work. We have built this thing, and then PO will either accept or reject. If this accept that, then that task is kind of over, or that user story is kind of over. The sprint review meeting is an opportunity to examine and adapt the product as it emerge and iteratively refine key requirements. So since the key stakeholders are there, like product owner and all, they can give a feedback, and then maybe they can provide some discussion could be there. Okay, whatever they were thinking, because everything was on visualization. Okay, we'll build like this or that or something. But when really it is built, it looking something different, or it is not very good, so maybe then they can refine their product backlog, and maybe in coming sprint they will suggest, okay, no, we'll build on this direction or that direction. Sprint retrospective. So after review, retrospective meetings are happening, and the reason of this meeting is to reflect how well the previous sprint went, and then identify any specific action we had to take to improve for future sprint, or whatever we had done in this sprint, whether it was very good. So maybe we had to follow the same, or we had to stop something which we did wrong. So those kind of discussion happened. Uh, mm, and then with that, we continue try to improve it. Then in Scrum, there are a couple of artifacts are there: product backlog, sprint backlog, and burn down chart. So these are the three things. As I mentioned in previously, there is a story point. So we define some story points, and then mm, there is some iteration is there, which is iteration over here is I can say sprint. So maybe first sprint, the 5 point they have worked on this. So the total 70 point backlog was there, story point. and then maybe 5 point they worked over here, and then next 5 point work here, and another sprint. That is how. So when they reach on this, they now 30 story point task is remaining. That is what it is representing over here. So product backlog, requirement for a system expressed as a prioritized list of the backlog. So which I already covered. What is a product backlog, which is defined by the product owner. Again, same terms are coming again and again. Uh, and then sprint backlog, what in particular sprint, what is the backlog item that is called print backlog. Generally, when we are defining a sprint backlog, so we had to break it in a smaller task, and generally we consider to break it is in half day tasks. If we are considering 2 week sprint, maybe for 30 days sprint, you can consider it as a 1 day task. But generally for 2 week sprint, we break any task is there. Let's say maybe I had to make write a validation case, uh, and then uh, store on a database. Or maybe I have to do validation case. Then maybe I am doing 5 validation and it is going to take 1 day estimation wise. Then maybe we'll say, okay, uh, on half day, I will do this much of mm, validation, and next half day I'll do this much, because generally we used to have many meetings, so maybe we are not available 8 hours. That could be a possibility. So maybe in company to company, some companies consider they will work for 4 hour productive or 6 hour productive, like that. So generally suggestion wise, half day work is estimated, and that should be finished by today, and maybe then you take another half day task. Team can add subtract item from the list. Product owner is not allowed to do this on the sprint backlog. Burn down chart. I used to represent work done. So it is a wonderful information. Radiator, 3 types. So burn down chart is representing sprint burn down chart, release burn down chart, and product burn down chart. So progress of sprint, basically progress of release and progress of product. So this is a sprint burn down chart. So basically, what happened is my sprint is 10-day sprint. So let's say 2 week sprint. So in this sprint, I have took a story of 30 story point. So maybe I took a two user story from the product backlog, which is each user story is 15 story point. And one is a 10 story point, and one another is 20 story point. Then we started it. So first day, when we started, and then slowly we are working. So first day, not much work, and then second day we finished some story points. So around maybe 2 story point we finished, and maybe by the third day we are able to finish around 7 story point over here. Then over here we have finished around 10 story point. So like that, and then when we reach over here, we were able to finish almost uh, mm, almost 18 19 story point. Then there is again, it is still there, not much change over here. So we are seeing there is little deviation. So till this time, team was doing good. It is what it was below this line. Ideally, if you are below this line, then this is good. So till this time, our team is doing very good. But then now, slowly, team is not performing. There is some issue is going on. So this burn down chart is giving a reference how good we are doing. So by seeing this, maybe Scrum Master can identify, a product owner can identify how sprint is going on, and that's why daily update is needed. So maybe if you're, let's say, maybe your sprint is this graph, this blue box is going like something like this, then it is very risky. Maybe we are not able to deliver whatever we committed on this sprint. So this is a sprint burn down chart. Then there is a release burn down chart. So basically, product owner can decide release when he will release. So maybe in sprint one, I have developed something, and in sprint two, I have developed something, and in sprint three, I have developed something. So maybe he can say every 3 sprint when I'm developing something, then we will release it for available for the customer. So 3 sprint we worked, and then he released it. So that again, generally we keep release cycle same. So three sprint will be called one release. So first we have finished sprint, and then so here at least in this example, generally mm, ideally every sprint we should release, but that is also not happening in 2 week sprint. So in our cases, we are having a release cycle is every um, six sprint. That is our release cycle. But in sprint also you can release like in a previous in this example we are considering every sprint we are releasing. So releasing means it is going to productive. Maybe your end customer can see that. So first sprint, there was 120 backlog was there in the for the product owner. He consider basically, sorry, he has considered seven sprint as a one release for that product owner. So seven sprint is a one release. Like for us, I mentioned six sprint is a one release. For them, seven sprint is a one release. So we had, as a product owner, I had decided, okay, this seven sprint or basically 14 weeks, we are going to develop a product management and cart or maybe only product management. So they are going to check over here. So maybe first sprint is over, and in first sprint we have not done much. Between first sprint to second sprint, uh, there was some slight 20 story point is completed. Then third sprint again, some more around 20. Sorry, by third sprint, 20 story point is there. But expectation wise, we should have to be in this red line. So by third sprint, we had to we had to finish 40 story point. This gap, but we are in 20, so we are behind the schedule. Now we are reaching over here by this. We are on the sprint four. We finished almost more than around 70 story point we have finished from here to here gap if we'll consider. So here when we reach on the fourth sprint, 70 story point. So we are way ahead. So maybe we can deliver more also. But again, this whatever is commitment, that is what we work. So maybe we can utilize that time to some other activity for learning and all. Now, or maybe again, product owner can give more backlog if we finish early. So then now team is doing with the very easily over here. Maybe they are not stressed out over this period. Maybe team was stressed out over here because they were behind the schedule, and then maybe they work more than 8 hour or 12 hour, 12 hour something maybe they are working on. So that is how this is about release burn down. With that, product owner can see how is the status. Then there is a product burn down. So maybe one complete product will be developed with a couple of release. Each release is of a combination of couple of sprint, and then couple of release include one product. So maybe our timeline to develop a big product is a 3 year. In 3 year, we are going to develop a ERP solution. So maybe each bar is representing the sprint, and then on that sprint, so we have decided, okay, in 3 years we are going to do. So in 3 years, these many sprint will be there. So and by 3 year that our product will be delivered. So or maybe 1 year or 2 years. So then each sprint, how much story point we are covering, that is what. So for complete product, story point is 525. So then we started in doing, so that is how this is representing. So uh, uh, in this sprint, we were able to do this much only, the blue box, and the next sprint we were able to do little the similar, and the next sprint we are able to do little more. So that is how it goes, and this also gives some picture to the uh, our product owner. Sometimes they also keep a buffer for release and all. So here basically there is a no development task, but this is kind of freeze for another stuff over here. Yeah. So that is about the agile basics. And with that, this is over. So yeah, maybe I can now go through the questions, or anyone who wants to ask.
Yes, Madhusudan, we have few questions in the chat box. I mean, in the Q&A. I can read out that you can
Yeah,
answer.
that yeah.
Yeah. The first question is so one doubt. What are the qualification for Scrum Master and what are the rules for them?
Yeah, so Scrum Master, there is not any specific qualification for Scrum Master. As initially I also mentioned, Scrum Master should be generally again depend on company to company. Some company hire dedicated Scrum Master, but some companies are looking for some technical person. But in our teams, like even in our teams, it is not any specific requirement to have this much qualification or something like that. But a person who can understand when the updates are given, he who can understand the update, who can present their team, who can protect their team. Let's say maybe product owner is giving some extra task, but if you'll go with that, then maybe your timeline will be disturbed. So they can also protect the team and for to be overburdened, and also they had to mitigate their problem, so they know the contact, whom to contact or how to contact, who can lead the team a little bit, not from the technical front, but from the driving front. So anyone who is for that, any specific requirement is not there, but yeah, there are certifications are there. You have to go through. If you are going through certification, then you'll learn in more detail how to do a product backlog planning, and all those things used to be there. So there are different trainings programs used to be there internally and externally in companies. And there is certification programs are like one I know, Good Agile is one of them, where I did as a Scrum Master certification I did in past. Yeah.
Okay. And the next question, where or in which domain will be able to work in this kind of a sprint?
Ideally, it is you can use it in any domain. Since I worked on software domain, I can talk more about that. But by reading that, it is applicable on all domain. Like maybe if you are, let's assume I'm giving example of fighter jet India is building, where which is if they are building, then maybe they are not uh, completely building a fighter jet. Obviously, they are building. Maybe they are first trying to build a engine, their own engine, and maybe there could be a multiple team will be there, obviously with the expertise, and also one team is more expertise on engine. They are making a engine, and then they will work on that for a couple of sprint. Their target will be in 2 year will build the engine. So maybe first sprint they will think about design, next sprint they will think about fan, how the fan will be there, how the body will be there, watch material. So those kind of, so then that is how iteratively they build, and at the end they will combine all. Then they will do so. Engine they will build and they will test it separately. The strength of the engine they will build separately. The material they will build separately, and then they will check the strength whether this will be able to hold the capacity or not, or it will fall down or burn or all. So for each level they are doing, and it is applicable on all industry, even if you are working on any kind of factory, but it is extensively used in software.
Okay.
Any other question?
Uh, I think I was not audible. How does project documentation differ in Agile and Waterfall?
Project documentation. I did not get. So I don't know what you are considering as part of project. Yeah. Sorry. Your voice was breaking. Can you repeat? Is it a problem on my side only, or everyone is having the similar problem? I am not able to hear you properly. Or are you able to hear me?
We are able to hear you. I think Bhanu is facing an issue. Maybe I'll take the question from her. Just give me a moment.
Okay.
Bhanu, can you hear us?
Yeah,
I'm able
yeah,
to
now
hear
I'm
you.
able to hear you.
Oh, yeah, we
Okay,
can.
now,
Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes,
yeah.
yes.
Okay. The next question is, where do we use Agile in everyday life?
Yeah, agile can be used in everyday life. Let's say maybe you are planning to have a, mm, let's say maybe I am very thin and I want to do exercise, or maybe I'm very fat and maybe I want to have a good body. So if you'll just think, okay, I'll in 6 months or a year, I will have a good body, then this will not work. So maybe you can plan, okay, sprint, as I mentioned about sprint, right? Maybe you can plan, okay, for next 2 week, I will do this much only. So I will used to run for just 2 minutes or 5 minutes or something like that. And then if you're able to achieve, just try to achieve it. Once you are able to achieve it, then after that, maybe sometime you can also celebrate. Generally, we also used to in retrospective and then review we used to do. So maybe you can take a break and celebrate the day you have followed it properly. Your burn down chart was correct, and then again you can increase your goal, because in our cases also, when our developers are developing any software, initial days they are not much aware about exactly. Obviously, product owner is telling, okay, you have to make an e-commerce site, but being a developer, sometimes they are not very well aware exactly what we are doing. So, or maybe someone is not focusing well or something. But then slowly down the line, and the technology is also, they are very new on the technology. But after 1 or 2 sprint, they are able to focus more and they are delivering very fast. So maybe in first sprint we are diverting from our burn down chart, but maybe second or third sprint we are on track, and maybe before that also we are doing. So something similar in exercise we can do. 1 or 2 week we are doing, maybe 1 week we did, okay, now next week I'll plan for 5 minutes. Next week I'll plan from 10 minutes. So that is how, and so this is our real life goal. Maybe you want to crack some exam. Don't plan for a bigger one. Okay, I will crack this exam in one shot. In spite of that, make it in break it is in smaller pieces. Okay, for this exam, these qualification is, let's say IAS, I want to be IAS. Then maybe you can break it. Okay, what are the books I had to read? You target, okay, these 2 pages or 5 pages, I'll finish it by this week or today or something like that. Make it small. So everywhere it is applicable, frankly speaking.
And the next question is from Sachin. Sir, I want to become an SDE. As a fresher, what level of DSA and development skills are expected? Also, what tech stacks are most relevant in the current industry?
Uh, at least again, it is not a agile related question, but I can answer you these days. At least you should know some programming language. Obviously, maybe Java, Node. These are well-known technology which is on the cloud. You should explore on cloud side, and then side by side AI also you have to explore. So these are the couple of things which you should explore, and then do some mm, code, like some small projects you try to create. This will give you a lot of knowledge how end-to-end project work, where authentication, authorization, every aspect will be covered. So maybe you can focus with some programming language, maybe as I mentioned, Java, Node, Python, or any of this well-known, which is generally in industries. Generally, these are the technology which is used more, and then cloud technology, Kubernetes. So these are used more, and then microservice development. Yeah.
And the next question is from Vanishka. What is the benefit of Scrum being a framework of Agile in comparison to its original version?
Agile is a methodology, and to achieve that methodology, this Scrum is a framework. So as I mentioned, right, Scrum. When I'm saying, then in Scrum there is some rules are there. So uh, to follow to achieve follow the Agile, Scrum is a framework. There is another frameworks are also there, which is called Kanban. And then there is another are there. So I have not explored on that. But if you are following Scrum, then Scrum's rule says, okay, you have to do every day daily Scrum. Maybe if you are going on Kanban, then maybe I don't know. So I cannot commit exactly, but maybe their rule will be a little different. Maybe they will say, okay, sprint should be the word will be not a sprint, and maybe it will be a minimum 4 week, or maybe it will be every 2 week you have to check with the product owner. So some the different kind of rules are there, but or maybe their mm, planning way of planning could be different. Like in Scrum, we used to do poker planning, poker card, we used to do a planning. So maybe in there, the planning is a different, but ultimately it is a short term. In a very short term, you have to deliver something with the different framework or by following the frameworks. So this framework is a tracking how is the progress, and but Agile is to achieve things very short, a small thing you build and release. That is what is Agile.
Okay, and the next question is a Scrum management team with all, I mean, it will deal with D2C and B2C companies.
No, it is applicable everywhere.
Okay.
Like if you Facebook or Flipkart is also using Agile, and SAP is also using Agile. So it is very popular these days.
And the next question, how does the release burn down chart help in tracking sprint progress during an agile project? And what insights can it provide during a sprint review?
So basically, these charts are mainly for product owner and then for the stakeholder. It is not for the developer, I can say. Generally, as a product owner, if I had to track how you are doing, then with this chart, I can see quickly, in spite of going and asking each developer what you are doing or how you are doing and all, I can quickly track. So high level overview I can give to my stakeholder. For that purpose only it is used. And by seeing that only, like this example here, right? You can see by seeing this, let's say you are reaching on the sprint 3. So if I'm a product owner, by seeing this, I can see something is going wrong. Or maybe do I need to deploy one more team? Or maybe I'll set up a meeting with Scrum Master and try to identify what is the blocker, what is the problem, why you guys are taking more time. So without asking much question or without asking, maybe Scrum Master is not giving me proper update or something. So I can believe, okay, we are able to deliver. But if I'll follow this burn down chart, so without asking Scrum Master only, I can know there is some problem and we have to fix it. So maybe then I'll ask what is going wrong over here. So to give you overview, that is beneficial. It is mainly for the product owner and stakeholder.
Okay, and the next question is also regarding burn down chart. Among the three burn down charts, which one is the most important in the agile cycle?
Uh, all three are having different values. So this is obviously when we are tracking for each sprint. So I have given a task to a team, and this is also helpful for Scrum Master. So Scrum Master, by seeing that also Scrum Master, because team is updating every day, Scrum Master can see and identify, okay, this sprint is not going well. Product owner can also identify something is not going well. So on that particular sprint level, release burned out chart is giving you about this particular release, how your release is performing. So basically from the product burn down chart, maybe something can be here and there. Maybe in this sprint we are not able to deliver much, but here we have deliver more. So uh, but from this chart, let's say maybe they have done started this, and the expectation is this yellow line, but here they are developing more over here, so it is coming very down. But the particular sprint, this particular sprint, it is above. So maybe with that, I can, if I'll draw a line again, straight line, then maybe my product delivery is going to be an 18th release. So I can see it as a risk. So from this graph, if I'll adjust according to this yellow graph, then maybe I can understand, okay, let's say maybe this below line, which I don't know whether you are able to see it properly or not, but below there is another line. This line is very above this, then I can see big risk over here. And in release burn down chart, it is a very short time period. It is just for a 7 sprint. But if you can see here overall how my deviation is there, how much deviation. So with this, you can plot a graph And let's say my down chart is over here, then I can say if I'll straight line I'll draw, then it is reaching to 19th sprint. So maybe he can think about adjustment, or maybe if he has given any commitment and someone is asking for risk, then he can mention there is a risk like our product release could be on 20th week, 20th sprint, because there is some issues. So everything is having a, this is for short term, maybe for a month or 2 or 3 months like that. This the previous one is a quick cycle within a 2 week. How is my team's performance? So for different timeline, how is the performance and what is my delivery cycle to identify? That is the purpose of this different charts.
And we have a last question. What are the disadvantages and advantages of Agile?
Uh, so basically, with Agile's advantages, I mentioned quickly you can get a feedback from the stakeholder and whether you are developing correct thing or not. That you can identify and then you can develop it. So that is a benefit of Agile. Uh, Disadvantage is ideally it is not a disadvantage. That's why companies are following this. But yeah, from developer perspective, I can see sometime it could be a disadvantageous if someone is not very competitive. Because generally in Agile, if your team is very competitive, then maybe someone who is very smart or good, he can do it very faster. Other and if it is not implemented properly, then that can go wrong also. Maybe someone is very smart, then maybe he has done his work, but he's still sitting on that because uh, he's not having any task. Whatever they have committed on this sprint, uh, they just finished it fast, and then maybe they are committing in next sprint because team is picking something. They can commit low, and maybe they will finish it by mm, fifth day or eighth day. But again, it is not. It is because the not following process fall properly, or maybe your Scrum Master is not good enough to do stuff. But that could be the reason. But otherwise, generally, this is a mm, proven framework which is used across industry. And I think these days no one is using waterfall model. So previously it used to be there, but this is the latest framework we can say which is used from couple of years. I think more than 10, 15 years it is in use. I started my career with the waterfall model, but from last 10, 15 years I'm using this one. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Madhusudan, for this insightful session. And we truly appreciate your time and valuable knowledge.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for inviting on this.